What's going on, car family? I'm Ben Wayne. Thank you for joining me in another video. Today, we are here at Bentley Atlanta. We're going to be taking a look at a pre-production model of the 2019 Bentley Continental GT. First, let's start off by defining what exactly the Continental GT is. GT stands for Grand Tour, and a Grand Tour is defined as a luxury and performance vehicle that is capable of traveling high speeds over long distances while keeping the occupants extremely comfortable. The most common configuration of a Grand Tour is a two-door coupe with either a two-seat or a 2+2 configuration. And that is exactly what this Continental GT is. This particular model has been finished in sequin blue. Your primary hides are linen and your secondary hide is imperial blue. So today, let's check out the exterior and interior details of this third generation Bentley Continental GT and see how this ride has been engineered for excellence. Let's start off the review by talking about some of the exterior design characteristics. Practically all of this car's bodywork is composed of aluminum, excluding the trunk lid, which has been composed of composite, so the design engineers could hide the antennas under the trunk lid without interrupting the car's lines. And speaking of aluminum bodywork, the third generation Bentley Continental GT uses superforming more extensively than any generation before it. Superforming is an aerospace engineering technique where a sheet of metal is heated up to 500 degrees Celsius and blown over a male or female portion using gas pressure. This allows you to create extremely complex shapes without having any seams or welds in the vehicle. Focusing on the front of the GT, there are a lot of subtle changes that have taken place that have resulted in an overall dramatic effect. For instance, the grille is now 110 millimeters wider and 54 millimeters lower than the outgoing generation. The overall result provides this car with a more planted and aggressive stance than found on the second generation Continental GT. I also want to point out that there are 4 large crystal-like headlamps. There are small details in these headlamps. For example, there's a B etched into the projector lamp. That is a nice little detail that makes this car separate itself from other cars in this same segment. The rear of the third generation Continental GT is perhaps the side of the car that has seen the most dramatic changes. For instance, the spoiler has now been moved towards the edge of the trunk lid, and the surface area of the spoiler has also been increased. So at speed, the spoiler can be deployed for increased stability and additional downforce on the rear axle. And speaking of aerodynamics, the GT is an extremely slippery car. Let's talk a little bit about the car's drag coefficient. We define drag coefficient as a dimensionless quantity used to quantify the resistance of an object in a fluid environment. Now, your fluid can be air or water. Obviously, this is a car, so our fluid is air. The Bentley Continental GT has a drag coefficient of just 0.29. Now, to put that in perspective for you, a car such as the McLaren P1 has a drag coefficient between 0.34 and about 0.32. So this is an extremely aerodynamic vehicle. We've talked about some of the design aspects of the third generation Continental GT. Now let's talk about some characteristics of this car that directly impact the driving dynamics. For example, the wheelbase has been extended by roughly 4.8 inches when compared to the second generation vehicle. Not only does that give designers additional room to play with the lines and proportions of the car, it also gives the car a much smoother ride. We know that the extension of the wheelbase positively impacts the longitudinal acceleration of the vehicle. We also know that inertial forces transfer through the vehicle's center of gravity. The additional 4 inches essentially lowers the vehicle's center of gravity, which results in reduced load transfer while the vehicle is in motion. The overall result of the additional 4.8 inches to the wheelbase is feeling bumps and surface imperfections in the road a lot less when compared to the previous generation vehicle. Diving deeper into driving dynamics, the third generation Continental GT features a 48-volt active roll control system, which is able to keep the vehicle stable while moving. This is called Bentley Dynamic Ride, and Bentley Dynamic Ride works by having actuators on each of the axle's anti-roll bars that actively keep the vehicle stable while in motion. One feature I do want to make mention of is that the third generation Continental GT features an active all-wheel drive system. Now, typically, previous Bentley GTs featured a permanent all-wheel drive system with a torque split of 40% up front and 60% to the rear. Now, having an active all-wheel drive system allows the Continental GT to perform more like a sports car. Now, power will be transferred up to the front as the car detects it's needed. Let's take a look at the wheel, tire, and brake setup of this particular Continental GT. This car features the 22-inch forged black and polished wheels, which are part of the Mulliner specification. Look at how the spoke comes behind the rim on this car. That is something that can't be machined, so to obtain the black and polished finish, it has to be done by hand. The wheels are shot in Pirelli P0s that are 275 up front and 315 in the rear. Your brake rotors up front are 16.5 inches in diameter and grasped by 10 piston calipers, and your brake rotors in the rear are 15 inches in diameter. Let's talk about what you'll find underneath the hood. So the third generation Continental GT is powered by a 6-liter W12 engine, which puts out 626 horsepower between 5,000 and 6,000 RPM. Now it also puts out 664 pound-foot of torque at the very low engine speed of 1,350 RPM, stays flat all the way to 4,500 RPM. Now this engine also features low pressure and high pressure fuel injection and variable cylinder deactivation technology. So it's able to deactivate a cylinder bank so the engine only runs on 6 cylinders during low throttle settings. When the throttle is fully open, it's able to reactivate the cylinder bank so you're running on all 12 cylinders. Now let's talk about performance. This engine is mated to an 8-speed double clutch transmission. 0 to 60 comes in just 3.6 seconds, and this Continental GT has a top speed of 207 miles per hour. Sitting inside, by far you can tell, this is where the most drastic redesign has taken place. I completely have fallen in love with the layout of this car, especially these new dual veneers. As you can see, this is a liquid amber over a piano black veneer. It runs the length of the car and it's just completely clean. Starting at the top of the dash, it's finished in imperial blue leather. You have linen contrast stitching. Imperial blue is your secondary hide in this car, and then the linen is your primary hide. Coming further down, there's a hidden 12.3-inch touchscreen display system. And when it is clean and hidden like this, Bentley Motors refers to this as architecture dominance, technology subservience. So to turn it on and flip it, I'll press the power button. As you can see, as I press the power button, this panel rotates and you can see the 12.3-inch touchscreen display. That's really clever. Now, if I press the screen button again, it will rotate again, and then we have 3 dials here. One for your temperature, one is a compass, and the other is a chronometer. That is a really nice, clean looking design. It's really timeless. So several years from now, when this car is out of date, which won't be anytime soon, it still has the clean appeal. It won't have an infotainment system that significantly dates the interiors like you see on some cars of today. Coming further down in the dash, you have 2 air conditioning vents that feature that diamond knurled effect that we saw in the headlights and tail lamps as well. Further back in the console, we have several buttons here for your air conditioning system, your seats, which are 20-way adjustable that feature 3 levels of cooling and heating as well. A control button to switch between which driving mode you want to be in, whether it's Sport, Bentley, Comfort, or a custom setting. And it also has a nice engine start-stop button in the center of the button as well. Let's briefly focus on the seats. This is my favorite portion of the interior because they're just so gorgeous. They're finished in your dual hides. Your primary hide, again, is the linen, and your secondary hide is your imperial blue. The seats are 20-way adjustable, and they feature 3 levels of heating and cooling, as I stated earlier. Now, my favorite feature about these seats is Bentley's new diamond and diamond stitching pattern. Each diamond features a diamond inside it, and that diamond is composed of 712 stitches. Between the diamonds on the seats and the diamond pattern on the door panels, there are over 2 miles of stitching in this car. That is 10,560 feet. So that is truly taking attention to detail to the next level. This diamond and diamond pattern took Bentley 18 months to perfect, and I truly love the end result. Taking a quick look at the rear seating, that hasn't changed much, but you get what you would expect The same quality that's found up front is also translated to the rear. So the rear seats feature the diamond and diamond stitching as well. So no attention to detail was skipped in the rear at all. The whole car's interior is truly gorgeous. Coming over to the steering wheel, it's been finished in dual hides with contrast stitching as well. You have controls for your infotainment system and hands-free telephone. Now behind the steering wheel sits two chrome paddles. The left is to downshift and the right is to upshift. Now I do want to make mention that the instrument cluster, even though it looks traditional, it's fully configurable. It's completely digital. So I love the way Bentley is starting to incorporate the latest and greatest of technology in their cars. And speaking of technology, during the last generation, we were missing a lot of technology from the Continental GT. I'm just going to be honest. And I think Bentley truly listened to their customers, because this third generation features a head-up display system, night vision, a lane change assist system, and active cruise control. So it has all the modern features that you would want in a car that has exceptional craftsmanship. So for the first time, I truly feel like we're getting the best of both worlds all in one nice, neat package. Coming over to the door panels, they're finished with imperial blue hides and contrast linen stitching. Then you have the dual veneers again, which I love, the liquid amber, divided by a nice chrome strip, and then you have your piano black. Further down, you have that diamond and diamond stitching we just talked about. And again, the door handle is finished in chrome as well, with a nice knurling feel on the interior portion of the door handle, which feels great to the touch. Further down, you have controls for all four windows and your side view mirrors, and then storage on the bottom of the door. This door panel also features part of the sound system, which is the 2200 watt name for Bentley audio system in this car, and it sounds terrific. The entire interior of the third generation Bentley Continental GT is truly something to behold. That was a brief overview of this pre-production 2019 Bentley Continental GT. Let me know in the comments section what you think. I think this car truly provides an entire package as far as performance, luxury, and the latest and greatest of technology. 0 to 60 in about 3.6 seconds and a top speed of 207 miles per hour in this refined Grand Touring vehicle. Thank you guys for watching. I would like to give a special thanks to Bentley Atlanta for having me over. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will catch you in the next one.